Whisper one, the official, unofficial combiner.
It's somewhat correct.
It's up to Hasbro.
Oh, well, if it's up to Hasbro, it's never getting done. We're fucked, man.
Oh, weird. Always got big old hands too, huh?
Sure.
It's gonna be a fun one this week, I see.
Oh, yeah. Welcome, everybody, to Modular Components, the podcast where there's so much to talk about every week in our exciting and intricate lives. I am one of your hosts, the Vacuuminator, and I'm joined, as always, by Boingo Riderman. How's it riding, Boingo?
It's doing something. Something's happening in the ether. Something's happening in the world and the ether.
Not the other world or the Aether.
I don't know. We're not in Final Fantasy.
Okay. Cody, where are you?
I'm in Night City.
Oh, well then. How's that place this time of year?
Pretty good. I'm cyber sleuthing around and taking out guards.
So fellas, I gotta admit, I had no real plan for this week. It's been a hectic week on the personal front, and I only just got this week's video out on my channel last night. So I was kind of coming in just going like, I don't know. We'll talk about something. So what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Do we want to avoid the giant elephant in the room of how the internet is slowly burning itself to a crisp?
Is the internet burning itself to a crisp, or is it just social media?
Well, here's the thing. We have centralized so much of the internet into a few handfuls of websites that if they burn, yeah, it's the internet burning.
This seems like a design flaw of sorts.
Oh, it is.
So, yeah, it's not great. I don't know what's going to happen. We collectively and me personally, we're both kind of working on trying to find in whatever the alternative to Twitter is going to be and go there, because I'm not going back to Facebook. And as soon as I found out anything about Threads, I was like, well, I'm not doing that. And all the other ones just seem like, yeah, I mean, not terrible, but you're probably not going to survive. The only one that really seems like it has a ghost of chance is Blue Sky, because it's by the original founder of Twitter.
Yeah. Though there's things slowly chugging along. Like, I have literally just been diving into all the social medias and just going like, all right, which one of yous are cool? Which ones have active people that would talk to my dumb bullshit? And like, it seems like Tumblr is going to be the place where you just be dumb, goofy, and fun. And there's going to be a variety of Twitter likes.
I mean, wasn't it always kind of that way?
Yeah, but like Reddit for a little bit was kind of like the only thing that isn't really kind of coming in to take place if Reddit fully goes under, which people are still using Reddit. It's not losing the market share, like I say market share, like Twitter is, you know?
Yeah, Reddit had like half a week where it seemed like it was going to be a Twitter, and then everybody just kind of instantly gave up, except for us.
Well, no, it's certain things happened. Like, legitimately, the admins of the company who like work for Reddit was telling moderators, "Hey, you better open up this subreddit, or we'll force it open." Like,
wow, I didn't hear about that. That's not great.
Yeah. Some of that kind of shit was going down. It's a lot of bigger subreddits going like, no, this is shit, and just being forced to open. And so instead, what happens is they open up the subreddit back up, but make everyone a moderator, so it becomes immediate chaos.
To
fuck over Reddit.
I kind of love that.
Oh yeah. For a little bit, like certain subreddits, like mildly interesting, instead of just being like normal regular posts, was just like people posting porn.
I think I saw something about that. I think I also saw like the Last Week Tonight subreddit just became ridiculous photoshops of John Oliver all the time.
No, that was r/pics.
Oh,
damn!
Like Yeah, one of the biggest subreddits because everyone's automatically subscribed to it when they make an account. But like, it's that kind of things. r/memes. Everybody just started making medieval memes. Like, it was pure just we're being dumbasses to fuck over the company. And I wouldn't say that's died down. It's went from a raging wildfire to a very intense burning ember. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still going, but there's that.
Why John Oliver? Did he do something bad?
No, it's just because it's just like, fuck it, let's pick a person, John Oliver.
And I mean, Reddit tends to like him, and also, like, his show is kind of fucked with the writer's strike right now.
But Tumblr seems to be like, a lot of people are migrating back to Tumblr and going like, wow, once all the dipshits left here to go to Twitter, it's a lot more tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the wildlife has come back to the reserve.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nature's healing.
Nature's healing, yeah. I mean, I'm using it a lot more now. I know Vac's been using it.
I try to use it, but the last couple of weeks I've just been so busy. I keep letting my queue run out, and I need to not do that, I think. Yeah.
And then we have the other big thing, which was Threads, which is dog shit. It's fucking bullshit. It's dog shit. I hate it.
Yeah, it is. It is a badly designed site, and it's also just blatantly Mark trying to piss in Elon's yard.
Have you seen anything of Threads, Cody?
Nope.
Okay, let me just give you the biggest reason why it's a big pile of dog shit. There's no follower feed. There's no place for you to just go and see all the people you followed, see all their posts. It is pure algorithm.
Just the main algorithm.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Also, you have to... Isn't it you have to connect your Instagram, or is it you can connect your Instagram?
You can, but like it is designed for like, hey, if you already have an Instagram, you just click this button. And it's supposed to be like, oh, this is neat and easy to use. There's a big problem with that though, as a lot of sex workers and trans folk has found out. It will often use your real name attached to your Facebook account.
And if you try to delete your threads, it will delete your Instagram.
Yeah, so it will dox you. It will delete all. It's just not good. It is not good.
And
yeah, that sounds like the worst possible outcome.
Yep.
Boingo, have you gotten into Blue Sky yet, or are you on the waiting list too?
I'm on the waiting list for Blue Sky, but I have gotten into a VTuber specific Mastodon instance, which that's a whole fucking can of worms. Hard to explain.
Wasn't Mastodon like an alt-right thing?
No.
I thought I heard that at one point.
No. There might be some instances of it because there's a weird like overlap between open source and right-wing dipshits who think that belongs to them. It doesn't. It's partially just because of the crypto shit. But no, it's each instance. Here's the thing. I think I am the only cis-het man in this fucking instance of Mastodon. I have yet to see another cis heterosexual man. I have just like bi, pan, bi, trans, bi, pan. It's just like I'm the only one.
That sounds like a YouTube video waiting to happen.
And here's the thing. I will say, being in the VTuber instance that I'm in is great because all the people are fun. It's a similar interest. We all get like we're joking back and forth. It is like they're sincere of like, oh, cool, talking to each other and that kind of thing. The biggest problem is when I first tried Mastodon, I couldn't find a community like that. It seems very much Mastodon's going to be the place if you already have a community that you can like insert yourself into, that'll be the place you go. Like if you are already a VTuber and like, all right, cool, you fucking go to Mastodon VTuber bullshit. Oh, you work on open source programming, you go there. But like there's not a big,
it's not you can hang out and get to know people or find communities. It's more about like there's a community set up for you, go to your box.
There's already a community there. You can head over there, like, because that's the problem I had when I first signed up like 2 years ago, like a while ago. was that Flicking Flacky, I would type in like, oh, video essay. There were no video essayist instances or anything like that, or anything of that kind of nature, and it was all like hyper niche for 5 people that the person who was making it knew.
You were an early adopter, and there wasn't enough there yet. It sounds like,
but like, it's fun using it. It's very Twitter-like, but it's a lot more, I wouldn't say insular. It's a lot more close-knit once you're in like a place that you can like go like, all right, cool, I like it here.
All right. What about Spoutable? Won't you tell me that one's okay?
It functions well. All the bits of the website work.
Oh dear, here we go.
Let me put it to you this way. I just refreshed the page. It's been like 2 days. 1 new post, and it's from Linkara.
Jesus.
So yeah, it's there. It exists. It doesn't seem to be like it's going to be a big major driving force.
Okay, so it seems like at this point we just have to wait for one of us to get into Blue Sky and then give everyone else a code.
Yeah, and then there's other sites I've been checking and trying, like Pillow Fort. It's a Tumblr-like.
I haven't even heard of that one.
Oh yeah, it's okay. Let me put it to you like this: there are 2 Tumblr-like, Pillow Fort and Co-host. Pillow Fort is kind of like, what if all the aesthetic, cozy bloggers from Tumblr? And Co-host is like, what if all the shit posting LGBTQ anime weaves Tumblr?
See, I'd rather just have Tumblr because I get both in one place.
Yeah. And that's kind of been my feelings on those websites. It's just like, this just feels like Tumblr with less people.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, there's certain elements that are neat. Pillow Fort, not really. It's the blandest, in my opinion. It just feels like, oh, we want to be Tumblr, but not. I'm sorry, people who like Pillow Fort.
I mean, the only thing I have against using Tumblr is like, this is the website we're all going to go to when Twitter eventually dies, because there's no stopping it at this point. Twitter's going to die within the next couple of months, I guarantee it. But I think I discussed this with you and Buster actually a few days ago. Tumblr just, it doesn't have the same, like, you always want to be checking this to be up to date on what your friends are doing and what's going on in the news that Twitter does. Tumblr feels very much, you get on for like an hour or 2 in the evening and look at all the fun stuff that got posted today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing is like, well, I get some info from, and I pretty much mostly use social media just to talk about, like, to interact with different communities based around, like, the toy interests or other stuff. Tumblr is a lot more like art and like sci-fi art and other stuff. I kind of use my Tumblr like most people use Pinterest, it seems, and I don't really use it that much anyways. But I'll use like Twitter, and I have most of the people I follow on Twitter on Discord, but it's not the same. Like, they post the same shit on the same place, but I do not like it the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
that's going to be the big thing that I think people are going to, like, that's the only reason why I think Threads is going to succeed, is it has the brands behind it.
Yeah. And, like, I don't want it to. And in my opinion, even if it does, if Twitter dies and... Gotta take a drink of water, someone's in my throat. If Twitter dies, and even if Fred succeeds, if Blue Sky isn't successful, if that doesn't take off because it's literally just meant to be new Twitter, I feel like something fundamental of like the last 15 years of the internet is going to be lost.
Yeah.
And we're going to be dealing with an entirely different ecosystem from now on. And that is terrifying as a content creator who has been like grinding out, trying to get to a point of some level of success for the last 11 years. Yep.
It's what they always say, is don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we never did. We were on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, Tumblr, Reddit, and all these other places. But still, Twitter has been like, I mean, the model for YouTubers for like the last 5 to 8 years, I would say, has been like, YouTube is how you release your videos. Twitter is how you promote your videos and communicate with your audience.
Yep. It's things are just gonna change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's whatever.
The big thing is just like it's going to be a lot more annoying to deal with like news because they're just going to be like, all right, find the sources you trust.
It's going to be back to the days of checking WTF at TFW every day, Cody. Or TFW 2005. I don't know why I said the name of their podcast. Jesus.
Or maybe RSS feeds start kicking back up again.
Oh my god. I never even, like, by the time I came into the internet, RSS feeds were already dying, so.
Yeah. I don't know. And then there's also just, like, every website's trying to be a little bit of a social media network. Just, like, look at YouTube and how it introduced community posts.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if TikTok was like, hey, you want to do text posts? Sure, try it. We'll see if this makes us money.
This maybe now?
I don't know. I mean, it's not going to hurt me like it hurts y'all, I guess. I just see it as like something will replace it. Oh well.
That's true, but I am also a little afraid for you, Cody, because you're like gearing up to start your career, and it's like, what is the career path going to be now if Twitter dies? The
other thing is, I don't ever look at it like that. I'm like, I just want to do videos.
Yeah, you want to do it as a hobby. We want to do it as like, cool, this will just deal with it. Yeah,
I still stick to career. Like, I know the barrier for entry is so impossible these days, and like so many people who have it as their career now have it because they got lucky early on. But like, I mean, I almost have that wrestler mentality of like, if you're not in the game to get the world championship, why are you in the game at all?
Education and documentation.
Yeah. See, that's why Snowcone's going to be the best YouTuber out of all of us.
Mm-hmm. I just want to make sure the video looks good enough to where it's still going to be acceptable in like 10 years. Like, I mean, I might make other videos and stuff like that, but as long as it's never like I'm forcing myself to do shit, like I can't. It's the same thing with like whenever I was doing art. Like if it was something that felt like I had to, if I was like given like a school project, I would usually ignore the grade and just make sure I was putting the appropriate time into the project to make it bend the rules to what I wanted. So then I could always, be satisfied with the thing I'm making instead of just making it for the grade. Mm. And I mean, I graduated with great grades, but Dan, my professor, said, he's like, one of the things that he commended me on was the fact that I never really cared about that. Like I knew that like as long as I put the work there and like cared about it and put the time into it, that the product would be something that is quality. And as long as that's what I want and that's my goal, then like that's all that cares. I don't care if like 4 people watch it or what, I don't really want to chase it that way. I was having like a similar conversation with my friend who plays Diablo, because he like gets real serious about the game and is like trying to rush through everything and do all this kind of stuff. And for me, it's just like, I'm just here to distract myself,
Yeah.
It doesn't apply in the same way, but like you get what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know. I don't want to get myself lost in that. And like hearing everybody talk about like metrics and all that stuff, I'm just like, that nothing's changed for me to start or stop what I want to do. I'm just going to do it, and that's it.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think that's kind of the healthier way to handle all of this. It's just, we've been infected already.
Yeah.
Right.
We know what to look for. We see all those numbers, and it's like, all right,
Like, I could not even begin to tell you how many and what videos I have watched on how to be a good YouTuber. Whenever anyone I even remotely care about has put out a video like that over the years, I have studied it like the fucking Bible, and still hasn't helped me worth a shit.
Hey, I'll be right back.
All right. But at the same time, like, I don't see... I wouldn't say, like, your approach is invalid either, Cody, because, I mean, oftentimes a lot of the most successful people say, I just started out because I just wanted to do YouTube videos about this thing I was interested in.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there is no, like, I don't want it to, like, become my job or like anything like that. My whole thing was just to still make toys and teach people. And it's just an avenue to do so. Teach people about toys, make toys, be a professor at a school, make
Mhm.
toys, make art. Yeah, I mean, it all could be done at the same time. I see.
I guess that's
You know,
fair.
because I mean, like look at Craftsman for example. That's probably one of my all-time favorite like YouTubers, and he's only ever done that. And he just does videos that he thinks would be interesting, or if people request a video enough and he can, work it out, then he'll do that instead.
Yeah. See, that's the methodology I try and approach things from, but then because I've wanted to do this as a job for so long, my brain also goes like, okay, cool, we got a concept that we want to do and that we think people will enjoy seeing. But now how do we get this to work with the algorithm? How do we make this snappy? How do we make this catch people's eyes?
Yeah, and there's no problem with that. There's like no problem trying to think like that already, or be ahead of it in that way. That's just not what I want out of it. I don't know. I don't want like fame or anything like that.
Yeah.
YouTube fame
Oh
stuff.
fuck! I don't want fame. I just want money. Give me your money and leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, and as far as money goes, I just want to be not stressed out about bills, and I can pretty much already get there. So
Yeah. Well, you're also fortunate enough to have a way better job than Chris and I could currently hope to have. And it's not to be like, oh, you're privileged, screw you, or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. That's always been a thing between us.
yeah, I mean, it was hard. I risked a lot to get here, but that was about it.
Yeah. I do think occasionally about just putting YouTube and collecting and everything on hold to go back to school. Never crazy seriously, but like there's a part of me that's like, what if I just went and got an engineering degree or a graphic design degree and tried to get a job at Hasbro? Could I do that?
You could do something like that. I mean, like I said, I mean, I want to get the stuff first. I want to go to school and get the degree first, and the plan is there's only a few places that offer like toy design degrees. So going there would also the way I want to do it, the only way that's going to work. And if it doesn't, then I'm going to just kind of
Yeah.
see how I feel or decide how I want from there. But it would be teaching for the benefit of getting the degree, so I don't have to pay the massive like master's degree fees.
Hmm.
So doing it that way, it's just going to force you to be a professor at a school already while you work on getting your degree, and I could still be doing other stuff while I do that. And like, I just whenever I was in at UNF, we had a talk with a visiting artist who talked a lot about like the starving artist thing, which applies more to like the art side of everything I'm talking about here. But with that like whole starving artist thing, there's a lot of people who are like, oh man, I could only do this, and like I get part of the notion, but like you don't have to essentially starve yourself for that. Like there's no reason.
Mm.
Um, and so what he did is he essentially like worked till he could him and his wife happened upon a area that was like real pretty and like kind of worked for a bunch of different things. And from there they grew a flower garden, and in the back part of the property they started a ceramics kiln, which wouldn't be hard to do, but it's interesting the way that they came about everything. So that's what like pays for his like overall like art stuff if it's not the art itself. And now it's gotten to the point where the art does pay for itself, so it doesn't have to worry about things like that. But beforehand, it was just renting out the flower fields and stuff like that in order to pay for the facility to like do the thing he actually wants. So I guess that's what I've been slowly crawling towards, is just like I have a job that I like as a baseline to fuel the other things that I want, and if any of those other things ever are able to take off in that respect, as long as I'm still enjoying them, then so be it. Then that's how I'll pivot.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm not miserable,
That's a sick attitude to have, bro.
Also, I'm back.
Welcome
Hey,
back.
Boingo.
I have pie, cheesecake.
Oh man, I'm jealous.
Can't tell. A whipped cheesecake. Yep, that's a whipped cheese.
Whipped with real whips.
Mr. Devo made it himself.
Nice.
Very
But-
nice.
Yeah. Hey,
I would
go.
go. You go. Mine was nothing.
Have you seen the variety of shorts and TikToks by Lego Master Builders that have been going around?
Probably.
There's
I
a
mean-
couple like Master Builders and Lego Discovery Centers they've started posting TikToks of just going like, here's what I built today to show to the kids, and here's techniques I learned, and so on and so forth.
No,
That's
but
pretty cool, bro.
I have a TikTok and I follow one guy on it. I follow one account.
Is
And
it
I don't
Modular
know
Media?
It's not actually. It's a guy who cosplays as Master Chief and like overlays, like he plays like the Halo music
Mm-hmm.
and then overlays text on the screen that's just like motivational text. Like not like kind of like a parasocial situation, but just like good advice stuff. And then it plays like the good Halo themes from Halo 3, and I'm just like, yeah, I could need that sometime.
That's fair.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's
So I guess
totally
it's gonna be
fair.
that and whatever Lego shit you're talking about, and that'll be.
You guys see that TikTok of the guy wearing the Superman outfit just going around high-fiving people?
Oh yeah, dude, like Starman by David Bowie. So good. I love how everyone's just like, I get Superman now.
If Superman Legacy was just 2 hours of that, it would be the movie of the year.
Crap.
You all right, Cody?
Yeah, I just dropped my phone.
Are you alive, though?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Is my phone good?
Yeah.
Is my indestructible cell phone completely fine as always? Yes, it is. Thank God. I do have something I can go into pretty good detail about.
What's
go
up?
into gnarly detail.
Well, I don't think I've ever talked about anything like this on stream too much. It might have been like time or two. I might have not even talked to Chris too much about it, honestly.
Oh.
But throughout my entire life, I've always had very interesting and vivid dreams. Never so much nightmares. Just sometimes it'll catch me off guard or like leave me in a funk all day because of how vivid and not otherworldly, but exactly like the world I live in, my dreams are. It's a constant continuation. Like I can go back to the same store and like there's different stuff there, things happening. But one of the vivid things that I always do in these dreams is I'll go to these different areas that look similar to the places I grew up in, maybe a bit more aesthetically pleasing. Some of them are completely different places I've never been before. But it's like the people who I, experienced throughout my life and everything like that. But there'll be small details that are like different but constant, like the house that I am living in the dream that's similar to the house that I grew up in Palaca. Instead of it being like an old shotgun shack that's 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, it's a like 4-bedroom, 3-bath, like 2-story massive, like not old style or not old not I forget the style of home, but it's essentially like a wraparound porch deal.
Yeah.
Made out of like better wooden material. So it looks
like
similar.
Like an old Floridian and an old Southern.
Yeah, something like that. Not too important or anything, but it's just weird that it looks exactly the same and there wasn't any other house on the block that looked like that, so I don't really know where that came from, but that's just it was the same house. Floors are painted the same color, walls look the same, it's just better materials. Anyways, I'd always end up going like toy shopping, which a lot of collectors, dream of stuff like that. But always, no matter what, it's always a specific, like there'll be other things that like will have never have released or something like that. And then it's always
unreleased G2 shit.
Do what?
Unreleased G2 shit.
For like what?
Like not the Constructicons, who didn't get released in G2, but we know they were gonna do.
No, not even stuff like that's existing that's unreleased. I'm talking about like
just like stuff you wish had happened.
Yeah, fantasy shit that like, but it's always that.
Like
so
more
like classified flag.
Or more specifically for me, it's like it's always like a specific version of like the 3rd gen Bionicle Montanui. Not Montanui, but Motu. I forget the actual names of that stuff like so frequently. The little guys, the ones that came in the tiny boxes, they had different ones. They were supposed to be like the Bionicle, they're the Toa before that current generation of Toa. The little guys, if you're familiar with like the Bionicle lore, that just are like the village people essentially.
The normies.
It's from like the series where they have disc shooters. So like they have much more posable bodies and they come with the weapon, and that was just like my favorite version of that type of toy. And so it would always be unreleased but similar in design versions of that. Last week I stumbled upon a thread in Twitter talking about a very similar concept, but it's a lot of people talking about it in the same way, and they're just like joking, saying, "Oh, you had the dream again." And so I see all these people talking about this stuff in such a similar way, and I was like, "Well, hold on a minute. I mean, are all these people having such a similar experience, or maybe it's just like a common collector's thing, maybe it's this?" And so I comment on it, talk about it, and what happens is not only do people start replying to that comment with like their own stories, the guy who posted the thing that I commented on linked me directly to somebody else's Twitter who was running and had been running a Google Doc collecting everybody's like Bionicle dreams and like their own individual stories.
What
And
the
making
fuck is
like
going on in the Bionicle fandom?
I know, I fucking know. And so like it asks you a bunch of questions, and it's like for you, is it this or this? And it's like all of the options, you know, there was like I think 4 or 5 different options. And I was like, oh, there's my option right there. Click. Oh, interesting. Here's the setting for me. Click. And it'll be questions like, is it this like thing, this brand? And then they did have an other option, but mine was one of the main ones, one of the 3, which was weird. And then it talks about like, is yours in a Target? Is yours in this kind of like, what kind of specific? And for me, you know, it's a non-specific, like non-chain type thing. Sometimes it's other stuff, but it's almost always a non-specific store that shouldn't usually be selling that kind of stuff and just has like a weird toy. It was just interesting to me to find such a weird like community talking about a very specific thing that's not directly like my whole history of dreaming, but a very big part of it.
Yeah.
It was just a strange feeling and very interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of like put it in the same thought space as like have you ever heard about that? I forget. It's like it's not like math hysteria, but like it's something similar to it. There was a guy, like all these people in like the 50s swore they saw like this guy in their dream.
Oh
and
yeah.
and they all gave the same description while not speaking with each other. Or if you want to get into weird cryptid shit, technically Mothman has a similar story where around a certain time, like all people reported seeing something like that. And sure, you could explain that one in a couple different ways, but it's still weird situations. I mean, the original like actual thing of mass hysteria, I think, was like in like the Bronze Age or something like that, where people would like dance themselves to death. I don't know if
No, that was in
I could be
the
way off on that.
1300s. 1300s.
Okay, but yeah, so that also happened.
You had a weird experience
That's
involving Bionicle.
that's
I had
fucking
a-
bizarre.
More like I found
You found your people?
that an experience that I've had many times and experienced seemingly alone might not be so alone or abnormal. Maybe, I don't know.
As long as
Yeah.
you don't join a cult. So I think we can
It's
ask
just
for.
because, like, you know, what is it that causes that? You know, that's like the real thing I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, was it something in the marketing? Is it because we can't get it right now? You know, like I might have a dream of that about a transformer every now and then, but maybe that is it.
The
Because
Lego company due to your generation.
I mean, Bionicle was something. Like it really was something. It was something different in a time. I don't know. You know, maybe that was it. Maybe it's surely the fact that we can't get it now. Like it's something that we loved and we want, but we cannot go out and get it. You can't even really get it on eBay normally. It's like unless you're just willing to really just pour that money in there.
So that's rough, buddy.
I don't see it as a completely negative thing.
Now you're wrong, man. But that is a bizarre thing. I don't think anyone short of like a professional therapist could really help you deal with.
We all know, all of us need therapy in some way, fashion, or form.
Yeah.
And that's like the other thing
And I
too.
think
Is
I'm the
I
only
don't-
one in the fucking group who has a therapist.
That's right.
I don't have the money for a therapist.
It is expensive. Tell you what, I cut out my
pooping.
therapy. I could afford like an entire wave worth of Hasbro figures. But you know, I like to process my thoughts.
Give me 1 second.
All right, 1, your second is up. Is there anything worse than digging for things for joys?
Yeah. Who knows?
You said bins.
Yeah, because I don't display a lot of stuff these days. Most of my stuff is in bins that are next to my computer.
And so when I need things for photos, I have to go digging. I just look through every single bin from the rest of my Lightning Collection Dino Thunder figures, only to discover they were in the bottom bin at the corner closest to me.
Particular storage areas for each thing. So I have like different waves of Marvel Legends fists and accessories in really tiny lockable boxes, and then
I
I
have
usually
thought
try to
about-
keep like
Oh,
larger
go-
stuff together.
I have thought about getting that intricate with it, but it's just like, God, who has time?
I would argue that it might be worth it, and I will explain myself in 1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I mean, it might be. It's just, I don't have time to clean out my closet or really do any maintenance that I need to do on my room right now, much less sort toys more than I already do when I open them.
I don't understand how people can just put accessories onto a figure and then put it in a bin and expect it all to just stay together.
Well, I don't put it in I don't just toss it in the bin. I put it in like a baggie to keep everything together. But
Yeah.
even then,
Well, I mean, that's a way.
yeah.
What I would suggest, though, or why I would suggest it is sometimes, I don't know, I've just found that like cardboard boxes can have a weird lasting effect. Other things can have weird effects.
Yeah.
Things like figures touching figures might slowly like get weird.
I mean,
all
you're
my
going to run a
playmates
risk on
turtles.
everything no matter what you do, because at the end of the day, this is plastic and it's being exposed to the elements, unless you just have it in like a hermetically sealed case in a temperature controlled room, and most of us don't have the money for that.
That's all I'm saying is just like a little bit more than just letting the elements into it, because you never know what's coming out, what can crawl in there or go in there.
Oh yeah.
I have
I
like
mean,
lockbox
I don't
cases.
just leave stuff in there for months on end. I do take it out and use it fairly regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know. I've had to change how a bunch of different things are stored, because just the way that my collection existed for the longest time, I've seen what doesn't work long term. Cardboard boxes just really ain't it, which I guess wouldn't surprise anybody. But
Oh yeah.
And I just remember the mountain.
yeah, the 8 foot tall, 8 foot wide mountain of
4 foot deep mountain.
yeah. In my room, like the whole floor plan was pretty much jacked up, because originally, right behind my TV in my entertainment center, which was just like one of those small, like almost 2 foot wide entertainment centers that's maybe like a foot and a half deep, and it was big enough to fit my TV on it, and it had my consoles underneath, and all of my toys were in boxes stacked directly behind it.
I do remember you telling me about that when we
There's
first
probably
met,
pictures of it.
and it just sounds so horrifying.
It was. I was stressed out all the time of like, because like maintaining that almost didn't exist. I'd keep
Yeah.
stuff off of the boxes itself, but like I'd find later, and even finding now, that like some weird things would get in weird ways. And even like a lot of the lock top boxes that I have, they don't seal perfectly, so things will find their way in those,
Oh yeah.
or sometimes they'll seek them out specifically because of how hard to get in they are.
See, this is also just a big part of why I don't want to live in Florida anymore, is all the fucking bugaboos and critters y'all got down there.
Which
I
you
mean,
call
it's
me?
like, I'd say also careful with that first thing you said. It was very close to something else.
Yeah.
You're right. I didn't even think of that. Jesus, I'm sorry.
I was just, I don't know. I'd say like one in like every 10. That's not even correct. It just happens, and you don't like it to be. It's just I worry about plastics like aging over time. You can't really do much about it unless you find out about it. But I don't know. I've always been like super meticulous about like storing my shit, though. I don't know if it was my mom or me that like made me think that way, but ever since I was little, I used to, even like how I'd build like Lego sets, I'd get a box, build it, and then disassemble it, put everything together, and store it away that way. And even if I was combining two sets, I'd still keep the manual out so I could then make sure and keep track of each part that was special to, like each part that belonged to each set. I mean, it's the only reason why like my original Zevos are 100% complete, and a lot of my other like original Lego sets and other things are like even if they're not 100% complete, just the way I used to store stuff, if I would have like miscellaneous things, and I could still like to this day go to like my different miscellaneous storage areas and find like missiles and shit like that to stuff. Like for example, I have a what scale would that be? One, it's not 1/12. Three. What scale are the Star Wars figures before they were 6-inch?
3 3/4 inch.
3 3/4 inch scale Vulture Droid, not Vulture Droid, maybe Vulture Droid. The Tri Fighters. They had the buzzsaw droids in the core unit of them.
Yeah, I think that is literally just called a tri-fighter.
I have a scale model of that, or I have a 3 3/4 scale of that, and also a TIE bomber. Obviously the droid one didn't come with a pilot; it just came with like 5 different droids, 5 different little buzzsaw droids.
Also,
but I had the missile of those sitting in
even-
one of my miscellaneous things. Go ahead.
Even though I'm sure somebody will have commented it by now, if people care to comment on our shit at all, 3 3/4 inch is how tall those figures are. The scale is 1/18 scale. I just remembered that, and my brain was going, "You have to say that. You have to correct yourself, you fucking moron."
You're not allowed to be partially wrong.
Yeah. I'm gonna Google and see what kind of ship that is real quick. Yep, it is a droid tri-fighter. I believe this is the thing we're speaking of. Yeah, because Buzz droids were deployed from droid tri-fighters, vulture droids, and HMP droid gunships. But the ones with the big ball in the center is the tri-fighter.
See if it might. I mean, yeah, it is that, but I just want to post the picture of that room anyways.
Yeah. I mean, you've also been posting pictures of your room in Boingo's server pretty regularly, and it seems like it's coming along real well.
Yeah, there it is. If you zoom in to the right, you could see some of my
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Buzz Lightyear McDonald's toys, vintage Taco Bell, Star Wars memorabilia, the Tri-Fighter, the TIE Bomber. Oh yeah, there's my Valor versus Venom Viper thing.
May.
And I don't keep that window open. I just had it open because we were having a housing inspection, and Dave said that the landlord was weird about windows, so I opened all my windows except for the one with all my shit on it.
Yeah, that I like that image. That might be the episode art.
Ooh, I can give you a better one. See, I could just because I actually took photos of.
Trying to think. It would be funny. I title this episode like "The Internet is on fire" in all caps, and the thumbnail is like a dumpster fire with Zuck and Musk in the foreground, and then the episode art is just like a serene image of Cody's room.
Yeah.
That's all right, but yeah, I took meticulous photos of everything because people were coming into the house to inspect everything, and I had to make sure that nothing I owned changed in any way.
That's fair.
So
Yeah, we had a
everything.
DSS worker. Oh wow, your room is fantastic. We had a DSS worker in here earlier in the week, and my mom did not tell me ahead of the time. They just told me, "Oh, this lady is here," and I literally had a panic attack at work. It's like, I don't think there's anything bad in my room, but fuck, that's my room.
You gotta hide your dragon dildo.
Mm-hmm. No, what I gotta hide is well, you know what I gotta hide because you shame me about it semi-regularly.
Look, you wouldn't have gotten it if you didn't want the joke of being shamed of it.
That's true. There was a time when I did want that.
Oh, look, it's a toitle.
Ooh. Now Cody's just posting his entire camera roll.
Well, another thing I picked up this weekend was Madison got me a matching all the way except for the big guy on the top of a shelf there, Rasul, as you'll see, the clown.
Mm-hmm.
I have an iteration of that clown with the green hair in every size available now. So it's like a clip size, the little miniature like tube thing size. They're like mystery packed, and then I got a full size one. So I don't know. I just think the clowns are neat, and Maddie found all of them for me at the same time.
Yeah, that's
so I have
cool.
A weird sub collection of stuffed Squishmallow clowns and crabs.
Damn, man, I didn't know you were into clowns.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were into the Clussy.
Yeah, I was a real big fan of the big comfy couch.
Fuck, dude, same.
Oh, and one of my favorite things. So we went to the Natural History Museum, and they do have like a section of like a miniature, like ancient Florida like village,
Oh man.
and I was able to put my phone flat up against the glass and slide it along left to right, and that's where these photos came from.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, I was looking at your Instagram. That was the other thing I wanted to say earlier when we were talking about just like philosophies of content. I really admire that you just post shit on Instagram with like no caption, no hashtags, no anything. You're just like, "Yeah, here's this."
Oh no, I tagged the appropriate museums.
Yeah, that's true, but with like no real caption or like hashtags or anything, nobody's gonna be able to find that shit unless they're specifically searching for that museum in like their tag posts.
Yeah, which happens. Like for my toys, I'll post toy photography, or I'll put a hashtag on there for them.
Yeah.
But this stuff is mainly just like, I don't know, I do both, and I try to keep it aesthetically pleasing either way. I love all the photos of like the foliage I got this weekend, or yesterday rather,
That shit was pretty rad.
and then the big spiders.
Big spiders.
Yeah, it's a spiders alive. That's actually a 1-to-1 scale model of the size of the banana spiders in Florida.
Oh my.
Those things are really cool though. The little spider exhibit was a lot cooler than I thought it was going to be. They had plenty of rare species of spiders, not just like tarantulas. They had some bird eaters there. Some other cool things. They had like the fattest vinegaroon I've ever seen, which is like it can't bite you or sting you or do anything like that, but it kind of looks like a scorpion.
It's like a whip scorpion, isn't it?
I was gonna say Vinegaroon sounds like the name of a Pokemon.
Yeah. There is a Pokemon almost named that. It's like Zigzagoon.
Yeah. Zigzagoon was the Rattata alike for Hoenn, right?
Yeah. Oh, and me and Madison both got nice little photos of butterflies landing on us.
Aw.
Madison had a
Matching,
butterfly.
Come, my baby. You're my butterfly. Sugar, baby.
matching profile pics.
Yeah. Here, I'll post
You're like those basic bitches on Pinterest now.
Fuck off.
I don't know, some of these butterfly photos I got they feel like some of the best, like something about like Samsung's and their ability to capture like greenery is just like always like lit my brain up. Here's a good one.
And he's giving us a good one.
Oh man, that's a good one.
That is lush.
That is green. That's greener than Kermit's dick.
How do you know? You ain't seen that shit. You ain't seen Muppets Triple X.
Ever
Miss
bought
Piggy told-
a jar of spare dill pickles, pickle spares?
Yeah.
That's it. There you go.
I could go for some pickle spears right now.
Well, I also learned something. I wonder if it'll let me post this video.
Might be too high down. Oh, you could post it. Look at that. Look at that video.
That.
Took very short videos.
I was expecting to hear like you going, "Wow," for a second there.
The butterfly one though is funny because Madison just happened to say like, "Oh, he's sipping" in the middle of it,
Yeah.
or at the end of it.
Fucking going through the aesthetic land, buddy. Look at you living life, being human.
Being out amongst the regular people.
Who would have thought? Who would have guessed? Who could have seen this happen?
Cody is the most normie of all of us.
I try to be nothing.
Well,
You're everything to us.
in the absence of nothingness, there must be suffingness.
And the something of bumping and going, oh, at the night.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to. So I do that with a lot of parts of me. And, like I try to think and keep track, I guess, of how I'm feeling about something and try to stay actively aware of it. So I don't get too lost in just like doing a thing to do it. Like I don't ever want to be just like buying all of the Transformers because I need all of them.
Oh yeah.
I just want the ones that I want. And I'll end up wanting most of them. And another weird thing that happens is I kind of change how much I want something as it'll get closer, or like, you know, maybe like I'll see a review and I'll be like, maybe I don't need that so much right now or whatever. I still feel like I need at least a color of every bat. And I still, you know, follow that pretty true, where like I try to get at least 2 of every bat if I can, but my first goal is just getting 1 of every bat and then continuing from there.
One of
If the
every
opportunity
bat.
presents itself, so I go for it.
One of every bat. Does that include Batman?
Yeah, Cody is actually Todd McFarlane's biggest fan right now.
I do appreciate some of those, but like of all of the toy lines, that is the one I'm like just 100% certain that in 10 years, if you even move it, it's gonna fucking disintegrate.
Oh yeah, with those fucking rubber crotches.
Like I don't know if it's the same type of material or what, but like just the Toy Biz figures I had. Like I had a Wolverine with like a leather coat. The fucking coat turned into an unknown chemical substance that was to the same appearance of the fucking Venom symbiote. Like the figure was trashed because of it, just from sitting in a box. So I don't know. That's like one of my Zevos figures. My favorite one is like my favorite ones are the clear plastic ones. And I just noticed that after buying unopened the electric like Iron Knight or whatever, opening them and then like neatly storing them away to where like nothing was putting pressure on them, I still found that he had started developing cracks in various parts of them just from existing. Just from me fucking like exposing them to the air almost, it seems.
That's what we call in the industry not optimal.
But as all things in life should be, it's ephemeral. You can't hold on to everything, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all transitory, baby. We're all gonna degrade and disintegrate and turn to dust one day. Might as
Okay,
well buy some freaking toys.
here's a fun segue for that has nothing to do with nothing, but I'm gonna make it work.
All right.
I watched a pretty extensive video on a ship in the what is it called now? Somewhere in like the Ohio River or something like that.
Yeah.
Let me look it up just so I can talk better about it. But it's essentially a ship that's been in use for over 130 years, roughly. I'll link you to the YouTube video I watched of it. Is it? Yeah, the SS Sachem in the Ohio River. This video is currently, or this boat is currently rotting in the spot that it's set, and it's been there for about 30 years. And its history, though, might be like the most extensive of any ship that I could ever think of, but no one gives a fuck about it. Like it's just kind of rotting away.
Yeah.
It was the first like naval laboratory. It was the first ship used in a naval science division, of which before the division was formed, there was no Navy science division. It was in both World Wars and had a long service record before the World War I happened. It had been a luxury ferry cruise and been borrowed by the Navy and other military forces. Thomas Edison worked on it. At least 4 separate presidents had been on it. And like not at the same time, but like just throughout the time, like both Roosevelts. It had done just crazy amounts of shit. It had seen battle in areas. It had like been a police boat. Like it's been part of every weird niche ass thing you could think of. It has even been used in the background of a Madonna music video. And yet it has not been like taken up by anybody to be salvaged or saved. It's not been moved and stored somewhere. Like there has been so many boats that have done so less and had like huge efforts, you know, to save it and restore it, but this boat is like left dying slowly in the middle of a forest, which is like a weird place for a boat to be in the first place, but it's kind of like stuck in the mud. But like it all could be possible to be saved. It does still have original parts from its original inception. Almost nothing else is original. It's almost like a ship of Theseus situation where like most of it's been replaced or rebuilt or destroyed, or all of that, where it was replaced, rebuilt, and then destroyed, and then replaced again, and then whatever. It's just interesting to me that something could have over 130 years of service. Like it was a ferry boat. It was a tourist boat in the Manhattan Harbor for New York. So I think in the video it talks about it probably ferried over 3 million people throughout the river to view New York for the first time. So like that alone, like there an unfathomable amount of shit has happened on this boat for it just to be dying like that, you know?
It's literally just nobody has taken the time to put it in the museum it probably belongs in.
Or maybe the people who would be interested don't have the finances to do it.
It's probably both those things.
Yeah. It's just crazy because normally like the military steps in if something like that has gone on, or normally some foundation steps in, like to preserve machinery, like they do it for like classic trains and other things. It's just weird. It's not really in like a limbo. It's just kind of somewhere.
Yeah. See, like it's because of that I know exactly what you're going to be doing when you're 60, 70, 80 years old. You're going to have a museum dedicated to like something, whether it's going to be classic cars or toys or something. But like that's the thing that you're going to do. You're that old man. You're the one that goes like, no, this needs to be a thing. Gonna set up a charity. We're gonna place all this stuff so people can see it and learn about it.
Hopefully. I mean, that's why that's why I like Toy Galaxy and stuff like that. And say like in lieu of like Toy Galaxy doing a cover of like everything, I don't really want to do anything like that. I don't want to be like, this is the basis on this entire thing. I'm like, no, here's what this toy is specifically. Here's where this toy came from. And this is just meant to document this specific toy. And then I'd have a video of another one just like that, similar. I don't know. But yeah.
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 Remember the train museum in our hometown, buddy?
I've never been, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh man, I went with Cub Scouts.
I was in the poorest division of Cub Scouts, I think.
Yeah.
We didn't do things. Well, maybe not poorest. It was all the bad kids.
You guys did scouts?
Yeah.
I didn't just do Scouts. My parents were the like heads of our local area.
Oh.
Yeah, his mom was like mean in Scouts.
Damn.
I think I knew that about Chris's mom before I knew Chris.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like continue it much, but like
How did you two become friends with all the shit I hear about your past? Jesus.
I annoyed him.
I know the story. It's just like, wow, that's astounding.
But I remember like there was a guy named Paul Penakowski and like a couple other weird dudes in like the scout troop.
Way to
But
dox
we
him.
never really did too much. We would go camping every now and then, but I don't know. It was just like all the kids from like the area and no other place we could go to. I don't think we had to pay any dues or anything like that either. I know Jake had a similar setup where like he went to one in Boswick and all they did is like do like BB wars, which is shit you're not allowed to do in Boy Scouts.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, don't do that with fucking BBs. You kill a
Well,
fucking
that's stuff
squirrel
we-
with a BB.
That's stuff we grew up doing anyways.
Yeah. That's what airsoft is for though.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was easier to get I didn't even know they made plastic pellets for airsoft until like I was older. I was like, whoa, these would be way better to use than the fucking metal beanies, dude. Wow. What the fuck were we using these the whole time? That's crazy.
Cody had a eureka moment about fucking plastic pellets.
Dude, we never thought or never cared. Like it was just always
Yeah.
and some people had like the proper pellet rifles too, not like just BB gun shooting metal BBs. It was like the pellet rifles that can go in you.
Jesus.
Fun times. But yeah, I've talked about a weird dream theory and a historical dope thing tonight. So I mean, anybody else got anything to talk about?
We also talked about your dangerous childhood habits of throwing metal at each other.
Hey, we weren't throwing it; we were shooting it. It's different.
It's way better.
Life has just been To give you also some more frame of reference, I've kind of had insomnia for the past couple nights.
Oh, how's that been?
There was a period of like, I think it was Thursday. Like Thursday night, it had been 3 days, and I maybe had gotten 5 hours of sleep total.
Not optimal.
No,
Why'd you
I've
do
gotten
that?
the sleep has gotten better. So it's like I'm on the other end of it. It happens once in a blue moon.
As long as you're okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like a weird thing when I stay up for that much, my eyes just get very, very itchy and they're still a little dry. So like,
Yeah, I can't really speak to that. I've never I've never done the whole insomnia thing, and I've never really had itchy eyes.
well, my eyes
Never
just
had
get
your eyes
very.
dry out?
No, there's
I've
just
never
certain.
experienced heartburn, so I mean, I feel you on that.
Got to check that one off the bucket list at some point.
So for me, I think it's a weird thing where I do experience heartburn sometimes, but it doesn't do what it normally does to people. I think my current doctor is trying to like prove I have some weird like ghost acid reflux thing where that only triggers when I'm sleeping, so that's why I don't know
Are they
about it.
still giving you shit about that thing with your back?
My arthritis that's in my spine that is still there, yeah.
Oh boy.
That's arthritis, so I mean it's just like once it's there, it's kind of there. It's just that
I don't think it was diagnosed when we were talking about it at the summit, though, so I guess that's progress.
it must have been something different. I mean, I know I was trying to see what was going on with like my spine fucking up my like ability to sleep or like causing me to like piss too much and stuff like that. I guess is a thing. Medical history podcast. But
Tell us how much have you pissed?
I think something to do with like because they said I had spinal arthritis and then two inflamed discs in my spine, which are both like transient things that. Well, I mean the arthritis is kind of already like always on, but like the inflamed discs aren't always inflamed. But I guess like whenever there is inflammation going on back there, it has a potential to like put pressure on your spine, and if it's in the right spot, it could like through your nervous system cause you to like you have to use the bathroom too much, which is why I couldn't figure out for the longest time why I was like waking up to piss when I had no fluid in me.
That's fucking weird.
Because I also would never have like any kind of issues with like sleeping or anything like that, and it started happening recently. But it's kind of weird. It goes in and out. That's one of the reasons why I started recreationally using marijuana.
Oh my god, Marowini.
The
'Cause
devil's lettuce on this podcast, sir.
It helps with specifically spinal arthritis and stuff like that, and dealing with inflammation. So yeah, fun stuff. No, I was like diagnosed with the spinal arthritis thing and like the inflamed discs like before I moved out to Gainesville.
Oh, okay.
It was probably in like 2019 or 2020. I remember the doctor or the nurse that was like who called me to inform me of the results. They had been dealing with like older patients for the most part, and so when she called me, she started the spiel that way, saying like, "Hey, you know, once you get this age, it's something that just becomes normal." And then she paused.
Oh no!
She paused because I guess she was like looking at her chart, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're 28," and I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "It's all right." And like my dad, I think I just really didn't understand what it meant because like my back had always been hurting, and like whenever they told me like it's arthritis, I was like, "Oh, that means it just hurts." I'm like, yeah, it sure has been doing that the whole time. That makes sense, I guess. But it's more of like, yeah, you have this thing that's just not going to go away. So that was fun. This one, the old lady was like, "You know, once you get to be in your late 50s, oh, I'm sorry, you're not that." Oops. Oopsie.
I've been doing this job too long, sir.
Just, used to older people is all, you know.
Yeah.
Older people with the same issue. Yay.
At least it's not osteoporosis.
I guess. It might be sciatica, which is funny.
What the
It might
fuck is
also be-
sciatica?
It's like a nerve cluster in your back.
But yeah, that'd be pretty accurate. Nerve cluster. I know Jake always just sends me a picture of it's like Battlestar Sciatica, and it's just like a bunch of like late 50s dudes like holding their backside, but like with the background of like Battlestar Galactica.
There's like Cylons and shit.
Yeah.
That's rough. I wish I could share some equally I guess troubling medical information to kind of dull that for you, bud, but like
No, I mean I don't think it's like it's whatever. It's not like a Maddie has like neurological issues that like definitely outweigh what I got going on.
And I've been okay medically. I felt like I might be getting a cough yesterday, but today I feel fine. And like anything I could talk about that's anything near that level of like personal life shit is shit that I'm legitimately not allowed to talk about because of degrees by people who are more involved with it than I am. And I mean, you could kind of guess at it given the fact that I had a DSS worker at my house a few days ago, but like we're not gonna exactly say what that is. We're gonna let people figure it out in the comments.
It sucks no matter what.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I could talk about. Oh, this is a thing I could talk about. I hadn't thought about talking about this publicly at all, but do you guys want to hear the saga of my grandfather's car trying to get it to be mine.
Oh no, there was more problems.
Yeah, since I got back from Florida, the plot has thickened quite a bit. So we got back, and for a while there, it seemed like I just had to wait for my next paycheck to come in, and then I could get the thing sort of registered to me and get it set up with insurance and all that. Go to and I thought that the that the title, I thought the title and the bill of sale were in the glove box the whole time. Then I go to register it one day, and I'm looking through the glove box, and I can't find it. And all I can find is like every proof of insurance my grandpa ever received for this car. And I call up my mom, and I'm like, "Hey, am I crazy? I thought they left it in the glove box," speaking about my aunt and uncle. And she's like, "No, it's they gave it to me in an envelope. It's probably in one of my bags. You got to come home and look for it." And I'm like, "Well, great. That would have been wonderful information to have yesterday." So I come home, I look through her bags. It's not there. I go to look through all my papers on the off chance she already handed it to me and I just forgot about it. It's not there. And then because we have a family situation going on right now, and she just doesn't have a lot of free time on her hands, she goes, "Okay, well, before you flip out and call them, let me look for it." And she takes the whole fucking month to look through all of her papers all over the house. And finally the other day, she's like, "Yeah, I don't know where it is. You're going to have to call your aunt and uncle and get them to send you another one." And so I'm on the phone with them yesterday, and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to have to make a couple trips to our DMV and our courthouse in order to get that for you. And it's probably going to be another couple of weeks before it gets to you." And keep in mind, the whole time I'm like on edge because I have to drive this car to and from work. I really don't have a choice. And it's not registered to me, and it's not insured because I was going to do both those things at relatively the same time. And then last week, my mom's car broke down for a couple of days, so we both had to use this car. And then just the other day, I got a call from an insurance company I had called to get a quote, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna..." I had told them I assumed by this day I would be ready to sign up for insurance with them because they had given me the best quote. And they called me, and they started trying to do that with me, and they went, "Oh, we can't insure you right now because you have a flag on your license." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well, it seems you have a violation for driving without insurance." And I'm like, "Oh shit, oh fuck. Did some cop just flag me while I was driving around?" And I'm like, when was that? I don't know what you're talking about. Can you please send me this information that you're seeing? And so they email it over to me. It's a violation for the 24th of this month. So I'm like, okay, let's call the DMV and ask how the hell I have a violation for a day that hasn't even happened yet. Apparently, it's a pending violation, and it's going to go into effect on the 24th, and I have until the 23rd to clear it up. And the actual date the violation is registered for is May 4th, when my accident happened, when my old car was totaled. And I'm like, what the hell? I was insured for that. I mean, I only spoke to the insurance of the person who hit me, but they assured me that they were going to tell my insurance and that they were going to file everything correctly. And they're like, "Well, you got to call your insurance now and see why they didn't, and use this reference number and that reference number and get it all straightened out." And then I call my mom, and I'm like, "I was insured under your insurance account. We just attached my car to it when I started driving. What the hell happened here?" And she's like, "I don't know. Let me look at my papers again." And I'm like, "Oh, great. I'm going to have to wait another month." But she calls me back later that day and she's like, I don't know if I just forgot to stop paying it or forgot to keep paying it, and or if like I took it off by mistake. But yeah, you weren't insured at the time of that accident. And I'm like, fuck. So we spent probably 2 hours fucking around on the South Carolina DMV site yesterday trying to figure out how the hell we fix this. I'm going to have to go to the DMV on Monday and pay a $600 fine for driving without insurance. That my mom has basically agreed she's going to give me the money for, because it's kind of sort of her fault. And then I have to sign up for insurance pretty much immediately after. And I probably will have the title and bill of sale for this car next week. So I have to spend this Monday morning and probably the following Monday morning at my local DMV. And I'm not looking forward to that at all. But also, it's kind of a positive, like, hey, finally this sword of Damocles is going to be away from my neck, that because it's been there bothering me this whole entire time since I got back from Florida. And yeah, that's been a large chunk of my week. There was that, and there was two other things, one of which I definitely can't talk about, another of which I don't know if you guys would even care about.
Well, about that whole insurance thing, I was going to assume that it was going to be because you never reported the tag on the old car to be turned in. So the other thing is, was that car covered? Was that car on her insurance, or was it just she never put the car on the insurance either?
My car?
Yeah.
It was on her insurance for a long time, and it got taken off somehow a few months beforehand.
And you guys weren't aware of it, kind of thing.
Yeah. And we're still not sure if it's something she did by mistake, or if like somehow she didn't keep paying it and forgot to keep paying it, and they didn't give her a notification, hey, you didn't pay this, we're going to take it off.
Well, here's the thing, though, is like no place works like that. Like it's either you have your bill or you don't, you know? So like it was either both of the cars were covered or like none of it was. Like if you didn't pay your insurance, they wouldn't take a car off, they'd cancel the policy. So unless she got a separate policy for you, it was either on there or not. And like honestly, for like registration for that vehicle, you have to usually prove insurance for that. So you could reach out to the company and see if maybe they had some issue, like your insurance company, and see if there was some issue, or like if it was taken off by mistake. Because if you could prove that, then you could find out about it. Because usually insurance companies do have notes if people call in and remove or add things, or do stuff like that. So you could see when and why. And there might be a possibility that it was done in agency error, and they could then, make it right, and it would be their fault essentially that this kind of thing happened, and there might be some sort of compensation or some other route to solve that in addition to this.
That's
just
definitely
explored that option yet.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's definitely something I probably should talk to her about. But also, it would probably be another whole day on the phone worth a headache that I'm not sure either of us want to go through. And like, I don't know. The thing is, like, this should have all been squared away a month ago, and it hasn't, because I let her drag her feet on looking for the title and just admitting that it's lost. And now it's like, all right, we need to get this shit done as fast as possible. And if that means paying $600 we may not have to pay if we spend an extra day or two talking to I think it's Progressive is her insurance company, then I don't mind that too much.
Yeah, and your other option is excluding like going through real mail. There's usually also like email notifications for like every company. Whether you're making the changes yourself or you're calling in to have a change done, it's pretty standard like procedure that like every single insurance company has to notify you in some form that a change was made, that this happened, that happened. So there should be an extensive paper trail. And I mean, if you had that vehicle legally registered in that state, then at some point you had to prove there was insurance on it. So
Oh yeah, I've gotten proofs of insurance for it before, but
then that means that it was either taken off in error or at some sort of request. And if it's at your mom's request, nothing can be done about it. Crazy, like that kind of thing normally doesn't have, like, can't really happen by accident unless you did it on the phone, like through your app, and some crazy ass thing happened. So it might literally be an agency error. Maybe they called and said, "Hey, we're replacing this vehicle," and they took that as like, or "Hey, we got a new vehicle," and they replaced it instead of just adding it. You know,
yeah,
it might just not be showing correctly. But if they're
That's-
saying you didn't have insurance specifically, there could be a situation where your car was covered, but you were not listed as a driver on that policy. If you were still listed as a driver on that policy, though, and that car didn't have insurance, that could also change things. Strangely enough, I have to deal with that exact issue on my job, like, a lot.
yeah, I know, and that's kind of why I've been listening and not really raising a lot of objections. Is I know you know your shit about that, but
But
thing
it
is,
could also be different in North Carolina versus here. Things do change over state lines.
yeah, and the thing is, I literally just I don't know. I only know what people have been telling me, and
Yeah.
at this point, I'm kind of like, "Nah, I just want this over."
No, and I get that. I just don't want, like, anything else to come up in the future. But I think there could be some non-monetary solutions to this. It might not have to be that severe. But $600 to fix that isn't also bad either. Honestly,
Yeah.
that seems like about a standard 6-month policy. It sounds like that's the price of the penalization. Which, I mean, the thing you'd want to make sure of, and, like, paying that fine and then getting it set up, like, just as long as you never let yourself have a lapse in insurance, then you'll be all set. Like for Chris, for example, I'm sure while he lost his vehicle, technically he's not had a lapse of insurance because he's probably still on his mom's. Am I correct in assuming that?
I have no idea.
You'd have to be listed as a driver at least.
Yeah, I think I might be.
There's special things you could do if not, but whatever.
Yeah.
I also didn't know about the whole lapse situation until, like, I worked in the industry. So who knows?
Yeah.
That is a massive misstep, though, and I'd be I mean, I relate to you in some forms on that for sure, because my madre would make massive issues. Well, for example, kind of direct example, but not causing the same issues that it did for you. My mom told me that I couldn't even get my license until I could afford to pay for my own insurance, because just me getting my license would make her insurance go up.
Yeah, that's like true of like boys getting licenses in general, isn't it?
It's true if I was to be added on to her plan to drive, but the act of me getting a license does not do that. And because I never had to drive her vehicle, I never really had to be a part of that. I didn't have my own vehicle, so I didn't drive. And I refused to drive hers because I knew I was already the person that had to fix her fucking truck. And I replaced, like, the alternator on her, like, various forms of Nissans several times over the years, and I had to fix other various shit. And if I fixed something, if my uncle fixed something, or if my dad fixed something on that truck, whoever was the last person to fix it would just get shit the next time something would go wrong on the vehicle. But she never took it to get an oil change or anything like that. So, you know, that was like all the time. So for me, I was like, yeah, absolutely not. I'm not driving your fucking car. I don't want to deal with that and have to be the person who's responsible for that shit 24/7. So that was just the whole thing. I just went that long without a license for no reason. And I didn't know it because I trusted what my mom was saying, which was stupid, but, you know, it's also your parent. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason I drove you all the places during college.
Like, I love my mom, but we've just both been really overtaxed with stuff over the last couple of months. So it's like, I've been behind on shit, and so I can't be mad at her for being behind on shit, but at the same time, it's also like, you aren't prioritizing things that could really bite us in the ass, and I feel like I am more so what the fuck?
Yep. Oh, like, in further relation to that, one of the reasons why I kind of have my whole back situation is because my mom refused the doctors to, like, do any kind of early surgery on my feet because she was going to grow into it. And what they tried to explain to her, and I brought this up to her 4th of July, actually, because it came up again.
Oh,
But she's like, I was just trying. I'm like, well, they told us that I would grow into it. They agreed with you on the growing into it thing, but I would grow into it the bad way, is that my body would not work correctly mechanically because it was growing into deformity and nothing else. Like, I wasn't going to magically get fixed from growing. It was going to grow worse because its base point was bad. And that was just like one of those situations where now I just have to deal with it. And it sucks. I mean, there's a little bit of resentment there, obviously. It was something that, like, my whole life I was like, hey, we got to get this fixed. This sucks. My mom's like, we can't do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, who knows? Not my mom.
How's your relationship with your mother, Chris?
Yeah, I look at this point in time. I'm surprised I don't have cabin fever.
Yeah, that is weird. How like totally cool you are with your situation sometimes.
Here's the thing. I can purposely, I know the telltale signs of like, oh, things are getting bad. I need to fix something real quick. And like usually that involves of like hopping into a VC with the V pals, because this is communication, this is engagement, this is like talking to other people, but like this is planned. This is making content, right? This is making a podcast. It's not the same thing as just hopping in and shitting with some friends.
Yeah, I need to do that sort of thing more often. Like occasionally I'll hop in the Buster server just to play up the old manness of me being in that server. Just go like, oh, what are you kids doing in voice chat right now? But I really ought to like actually talk to some people beyond fucking making podcasts and having a therapist.
A therapist is a really healthy step in that whole situation, though.
Yeah,
that's true.
The main reason why I like don't have one, I actively seek it. I got rescheduled for almost an entire year trying to get set up with a therapist.
Damn, dude.
And they tried to charge me a thing at the end because they kept calling me the day before or the day of my scheduled appointment and then saying the doctor was going to be out or had to reschedule.
What the fuck?
And then I had like completely forgot about it because like the last time they did it, it was like the sixth time they did it, they called me and said, I was like, yeah, just put me on the next available thing and send me a follow-up thing. And they never sent me the follow-up text, but like the day came and they're like, yeah, well, you have an appointment tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, we'll cancel it. I can't go. I have work. And they're like, well, there's going to be a cancellation fee of blah, blah, blah. And I just like lost my shit. And I was like, man, I'm like, if you think I'm going to pay a fucking cancellation fee over some dumbass bullshit like this when y'all canceled on me like 6 goddamn literal times, if you check and look through, you can see that you have canceled on me 6 times and now you're going to try to. And all I said, I was like, I've never been there and you don't have my information outside of my name. Good luck sending me a bill. Goodbye.
I remember that.
I
remember
wish
when you
I
told
had
me
that
that
level of
happened.
cojones.
I mean, because like realistically, what else are they gonna do? I'm like, what? Like, what are you gonna do? You can't just like find the name and then like slap it somewhere. I never told you what my address was.
Yeah. And even then, unless they like charge your card, you don't have to pay anything they send you. You can just tell them the fuck off.
Exactly. That whole like setup, man. Like getting a lot of shit like that to be dealt with is just always annoying.
Yeah.
Because
I was pretty fortunate that all I really had to do is I heard of like a website that aggregates local therapists, and I just looked on. I'm like, all right, who's the cheapest person that doesn't look like an asshole? And I found my therapist, and I've been with her for almost 2 years now.
If it works, that's important.
Yeah. There are times where I wonder why I'm doing it, because I'm not making a ton of progress, but there are other times where it's like, yeah, this appointment, like, I didn't make it that way, but it happened to fall at just the right time, so I'm glad I do this regularly.
It's like what's the way to describe? It's like when you're neurodivergent and you're taking medicine for it, and you get to a point where you go like, oh, I'm good. I don't need to take medicine anymore.
Yeah.
But no, you need to still take medicine. That fucked me up. Because I took medicine for ADHD all through middle school, and then I kind of stopped high school, And I wouldn't say I struggled in high school, but it was definitely not as good as I could have been. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cody's like, yeah, I was there. I know.
So,
You were there. See every horrible choice I made.
Where were you when Chris went off his meds?
I don't know if I have an active memory of you being off. I just remember, I don't know, the essence of Chris throughout the years.
Yeah. The essence of me just being annoying as fuck. Then
You're
being blindsided fucking graduation, because all through high school it's just like I'm the fucking weirdo on the fringe. The only people who pay attention to me are my friends, and it's fine. And then graduation day happens, and so many people go like, "Hey, Chris, come here, take a photo." I'm just like, I don't know you. Why do you want a photo with me?
Yeah. People used to walk up to me and ask me to like lift my shirt, who I didn't even know.
Yeah,
That's sexual harassment.
No, it wasn't.
it could be, but yeah.
It was already understood that I was willing to do such as a joke because I did it as a joke.
Yeah. Though you weren't Chewbacca. That was our friend Patrick.
Called a hat trick.
Oh, we'll give him the Patrick. Ay.
Ay, ay, ay.
Ay, Zordon!
Mm.
I am so tempted to throw one of those in the cover of the thing I'm making for you.
I don't know if I would be okay with that or not. I think it entirely depends on the execution.
Ay, the beat, it's about to drop!
Drop your balls.
Zordon! The bass! It wubs too much!
Speaking of Power Rangers, though, I have been opening Lightning Collection figures this entire recording, and what a fucking mixed batch.
I'm taking the Triceratops fossilizer and putting them on Inferno right now.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I just opened Mesogog, and like he is a beautiful sculpt, but every fucking joint on him is either way too tight or way too loose.
What about Way Too Moose?
Well, that's the sequel nobody asked for.
Oh my god, it's a moose! Oh my god, you're gonna throw up a Canadian.
That comes later.
Ooh, I always love finding out that my camera is smudged.
Smudgened?
Musmugga.
Mashugana? Mashuga?
I had that in my brain the other day. That exact riff too.
I mean, that's the Meshuggah riff. That, you know.
Yeah.
You think of Meshuggah, you think of that fucking polyrhythm.
That fucking ant.
Is that Inferno? Is it Inferno?
Yep. The
Okay.
Beast Wars Inferno is a fire ant. And I always forget that, because when I think Inferno, I just think fire truck guy.
Oh man, I can't wait for them to give us a. I mean, I don't really think they could give us a Trans Metals Inferno from this.
Yeah,
That's not really how it was at all. Like Trans
real
Metals
tough.
Inferno wasn't really like this, but like I know they've talked about Trans Metals, so here's hoping.
I know they've been asked about it in interviews several times.
Well, they talk about getting the colors right.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, metallic paint. Don't chrome that shit. Just give it metallic paint.
Yeah.
They can get real close now without having to chrome stuff properly. Inferno's gun is cool as fuck, though.
Mm.
It has some weird shaping to it that makes me feel like it's on purpose, and or rather, like some of the weird grooves have purpose that I don't really see being used in his ant mode. So I don't know, or any of his modes.
What about his moves? I was trying to make a joke, didn't work. Sorry.
Damn,
Sorry.
Chris.
Live and let learn.
Live and learn.
You live and let learn.
Tomorrow. See, I was doing Sanic.
Well, I've been studying up on my Roger Moore James Bond this week.
Ah, beautiful. Lovely. Love that for you.
Because I bought the Adventure Series indie that is his Club Obi-Wan look. And I was like, damn, that tuxedo, that's pretty close to a James Bond tuxedo. I wonder if there's any custom James Bond heads out there. Cheapest one I could find was a Roger Moore, and I was like, I have literally only seen The Spy Who Loved Me. So let's look into the rest of his movies and see if I'd be okay with him being my shelf Bond. And probably. And I mean, it works because he was also James Bond at the time that the original Indiana Jones movies were coming out. So it would make sense. But I don't know. I am more of a Daniel Craig Bond guy.
I feel you on that. I feel like you could probably find a head from something that looks like somebody.
Yeah. I feel like Daniel Craig probably has had 6-inch action figures by now, and I could get a head from one of those, but...
See, here's the thing. If you're going to get a Daniel Craig 6-inch figure, why not use it to make Benoit from Knives Out?
Because I am nowhere near as obsessed with those movies as everyone in the world is.
You take that, Chris, you stupid idea having fuck.
I am just like, I am so fucking sick of seeing everybody be so into those movies. Like, to a certain extent, it's yes, enjoy what you like. I don't want to yuck your yum, but like, good God, it is not for me. I tried, it's not for me. I'm sure there are people who could make a good Benoit custom.
Oh yeah, live and learn.
I was gonna try to make like a giant thing out of all of my parts of Isers, I guess.
Yeah.
Make a giant robot?
Yeah, but so far I've just rearranged one of the bone ones for no reason. It looks pretty cool. Probably put this on the back of there and really sell that whole vibe.
Before I forget, hey Cody, this is the master builder on TikTok. He shows off his process in building Lego sets and also other master builders that he works with, and just a variety of techniques and things that they do.
What's his name? Which master builder is it?
His name is Alec. He's a master builder discovery version. So like he's the one that like he shows his office in a video where basically he sits in the middle of a big play area where all the kids are, and he has a window and the kids can just walk up and go like, what are you building? And he can show off what he's working on or other things he's already built. And he's also in charge of making sure the major displays are up in order, are clean. He's like that guy.
Cool.
So it's a lot of like cool stuff. Just seeing the insides of like Lego, and
Yeah.
Also goes into all like the mundane things that he has to build. Of like, yeah, if you're working for Lego, it makes sense to build things out of Lego. So I built all the people that work here's nameplates out of Lego. So here's this person's nameplate.
That's cute though.
Oh yeah. Or like there was one thing he was working on collaboratively with another master builder for a new discovery area they were opening up in Washington, I think Portland or Seattle, one of those two places. And it's like they wanted to make a bigger version of one of the bonsai tree. So he helped by building the trunk and shipped it over. It's just like, hey, here's how I built it. Here's some of the things I did to make it easier to ship and all of that kind of stuff, which is just, it's a neat way. It's a neat perspective to see on Lego.
Yeah, I agree. I like seeing shit like that all the time. I follow a couple of the other master builders and I'll see them like tweet stuff like, hey, I helped build this set or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I especially like trying to talk to them if they've done stuff like that and they're like, it's a set that I plan on buying or have bought or something. I always think that's fun to do.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I bought this. Tell me more about it.
Every Lego kit should have a director's commentary.
Yeah, they've done things like that.
Remember when they were doing that for Transformers?
Oh, they still do it every now and then. Well,
I haven't seen one since like Siege Springer.
They do it with like the podcast things now, and like Mark Clonus and stuff like that. You follow like the individual
People.
Oh yeah, like the text posts. I mean, like, do you remember when the official Hasbro YouTube channel used to have like these special commentary promo videos?
No.
It was many moons ago. I mean, I guess the fan streams have kind of subsumed that, but those, I don't know, there was like a different vibe to those because the fan streams are more like, look at this thing we made. You can go pay to have it in a few months right now. Whereas like those commentary videos were like, this has been out in stores for a few weeks. Here's like why we did this and why we did that.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yes.
This is where it's at.
You good, buddy?
Yeah, I don't know. I wish this neck joint was looser.
Give it all the crack. Give it the take it to a chiropractor.
I'm trying.
Give it a little crack a snicky snack. Also surprised Buster did not respond to my prodding.
I mean, did you want to get in a fight with Buster in the text chat that the audio listeners can't see?
I don't know. It'd be funny.
But would it be funny?
That'd be funny for me. Of course, my sense of humor is wildly out of whack.
Really got something going here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got a man with some dino DNA.
Dinosaur DNA.
Yeah.
Dino DNA.
Look at this guy from the photos send.
Oh, look at that guy. Always one of the best fucking American created villains.
Yeah, it's like him and Zed. Nobody else can touch their level.
The skull dude from SPD kind of gets there.
I like Grum, but like his
visually, Grum looks okay to me.
Visually, he's okay. Character-wise, he's interesting right up until the last couple episodes when they just go, the big CGI thing was in charge the whole time.
Yeah. And I think it's also just like Grum didn't have the articulation that Mesogog did. Because Mesogog's mouth movement was phenomenal for a mid-aught kids TV show.
Oh yeah. And that's because it was made more like a puppet head, and it was literally like attached to the suit actor's actual jaw, I think, if I remember reading that correctly.
Damn. Why doesn't Japan use that technology?
I don't know. It's weird. I remember reading at one point that like Toei did test the possibility. Toei tested like 2 different ways of doing suits being able to talk for Kamen Rider Kuga. Like they tested remote control lip flaps, and they tested CGI ones. And apparently the CGI ones terrified kids, probably because it was 2001 CGI. And they started doing the motorized remote control ones, and I think it looks okay in Kuga. I haven't seen Agito, but I hear they kept it up through Agito. And then I'm trying to remember. I think Ryuki was the next show after that. I think at some point during Ryuki, they just kind of gave up. And
yeah, at a certain point, all tokusatsu monsters just no longer had a mouth and just gesticulated.
Mm-hmm.
I have no movement on my screen.
I mean, literally, none of the monsters in the current Sentai have a mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Or even something that looks like it could be a mouth.
Occasionally, you'll get a well-articulated mouth in an Ultraman show, but even then, they rarely have monsters that speak. It's more often just big growling beasts with screeches from the 60s.
Like reoccurring monsters have speaking roles, right? Like Dada.
Dada hasn't been in an Ultra show, I want to say, in like 20 years.
Dada was in fucking Geed.
Oh, was he? I haven't seen.
I don't think it was the Dada, but it was a Dada.
Mm.
And also, yes, Cody, because of art history, the monster is a reference to the Dada movie.
Nice.
There's there was the Giants of Darkness in Trigger, but none of them had mouths. They had like Ultraman mouth plates.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, Kellyamon was in episode of Zed, and he's got like a big fucking HR Puffin stuff Muppet mouth. But I can't think of too many other talkie boys in Ultraman recently.
Yeah, and it's only like a rare few that would speak, right? Just like ones that are like intelligent aliens.
Yeah, because more often than not, Ultraman fights big old Skreonk boys.
Yeah, here's Dada in Ultraman Geek.
Yeah,
Damn,
getting slightly artistic over here.
Look at him! Look at him playing Hollow Chess right there.
I mean, there was like Cody. He is like the unofficial mascot of the Dadaist movement in Tokyo.
Let me grab my phone.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think Cody's been looking at the chat in a while.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
You like it? You love it? You want some more of it? You try so hard, you can't rise above it.
Want some more of it. I don't know what it is about those country boys, but I can't remember the rest of it.
I can't either. Boosh, gabish, gabish, gaboosh.
I don't even remember how this guy even works.
What the fuck? In the 100th anniversary of the Dada movement in Tokyo, which takes place on May 19th, 2016, Dada was invited to the ceremony alongside Swiss ambassador Urs Bircher.
Well, I mean, Dadaism did Dadaism start in Switzerland?
Don't ask me, dude. I am not in the memory mode. I'm not trying to remember things.
Okay,
I don't
I'll
know.
Google real quick.
I just love the idea of this fucking Japanese monster mash hanging out with the Swiss ambassador.
Well, I mean, for the art movement known as Dada, it's not that far out of the realm of possibility.
Fair enough.
Yep. With early centers in Zurich, Switzerland, and Cabaret Voltaire in New York, Dada. Yeah. Vac, just a little bit of like art history information for you because we've been talking about it. Dadaist is how to best describe it? It is an art movement that's kind of like surrealism, kind of like absurdism, but it's much more about like the chaotic randomness of the world. Like,
I think Grant Morrison talked about it a little bit in their book.
Yep. Like I remember learning about it in like playwriting. Like some people would just write a bunch of lines and then roll dice to see which order they go in. Like it was all about the randomness and the artistry out of that, you know?
How about that?
Art history, man.
Art history, man.
He informs you when you're a dumbass about history.
New from Skybound Entertainment, it's Robert Kirkman's new $1 million idea.
This will make you forget about The Walking Dead, won't it?
No, this will make him as much money as The Walking Dead.
Even better.
Ugh, I really hate it when a figure has like a long piece of clothing that hangs over their waist and makes it hard to get them in any kind of like dynamic pose with their legs.
Just make a pose where they're doing a split.
Yeah, that's an option.
Just straight up doing a Chun-Li split.
You know what, dude? These fucking fossilizers and shit are pretty much just bionicles. If I'm being honest, like that's just what I'm doing right now. It's just fucking with bionicles is what it feels like.
Everybody who likes modular toys is just chasing that high of getting bionicles again.
That's really what it is too. I love little things like that. I love like little play sets, little car play sets. Anything that was like, here is your core thing, and then like all of these things can like break out. Like I love shit that's like Voltus V the toy. If I use that correct, Voltus V was the second Voltron, right? No.
The second Voltron we got was the vehicle guy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That would be Die Rugger 13, I want to say.
Why would you want the Ruggers to die?
I don't fucking make the names.
Just gotta figure out a way to mount this on there.
Yeah.
Light a fart.
Figured out a really
To light a fart?
no, but to mount this up there. Oh no, I didn't. Fuck you then. It'd be better for me to take the whole leg off to do that, though. Let me figure out where I do that at. Is it here? Is it there? It's right there, actually. Yeah. I do plan on posting the results of this build here in a second.
Delightful. Tasty. Give it to me so I can munch it all up.
This is not. This should separate somewhat. Oh, like right there. Nice. Doesn't really damn. Fuck.
Hashtag fuck. Oh shit. Okay, hold on a second. Have you guys seen the Baldur's Gate 3 shit?
No.
What?
Baldur's Gate 3 is a video game based off of Dungeons and Dragons. That's not the important part. They showcased more of what's going to be in the game, and legitimately, they're going full haha wacky D&D thing.
Yeah, just took all your power away from you. Fuck you.
Watch the video.
You can fuck a bear.
You fuck a bear.
Yeah, you can fuck a bear.
You can fuck a bear.
Why is the world like this?
Now, to be clear, you're not actually fucking a bear. You're fucking a guy who is a bear.
Yeah.
Or a girl who is a bear. Whatever, who's a bear. You're fucking a bear is actually the whole point of that, though. So there you go. If you ever hoped that one day your video game exploits would lead you to bear fucking in that specific kind of way, then oh boy, oh bear, can't bear to wait for that to release.
It's the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities,
Forget about your worries,
and the
your
strife.
worries, and your strife.
Beep beep boop.
All right.
You good?
Yeah.
Are you evil?
I'll decide later.
Uh,
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost midnight.
Oh, is it?
we made it.
Does that mean it's a podcast?
Could mean it's a podcast.
It's gonna
Could
be
also
the name.
mean it's a schmod mask.
That's the name of the show. Is it a podcast? I don't know.
You tell us, you listener who's gotten all the way to the end of this. Is this a podcast?
Do you like it? Give it a like. Do you comment it? Give it a comment. Fucking subscribe. Bell.
Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you want some more of it?
Let us know. Let Boingo know. Boingo, where are you on the internet?
I'm in a variety of places. I'm on YouTube at Boingo Writer. I'm on Twitch at Boingo Writer. It's for twitch.tv/Boingo Writer. I'm on a variety of social media platforms. So let's just go with the ones that I've been using, and we'll figure out which ones I want you to know about later. So Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, Boingo_Writer. And I am on Tumblr. A link to that is in the description, but it's Boingo Writer on Tumblr. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Cody, where can they find you?
Currently in my room.
That joke is never not great.
Out of my bones, making a bonatron out of all my bones, my different boner accessories.
Oh my
Just
God, you're
boning it up.
Never_robot is where I'm at on Instagram, and that's all you need to know right now.
Oh man, it's like a fucking Power Ranger death machine right there.
It's like a boner.
Boner to my boner.
Boner to the max. Boner to the max. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba.
I have links. They're in the video description. Good night.
Good night.
God, it's so fucking far up. We posted so much shit.